For centuries, a narrow but formidable stretch of water has separated Sicily from the Italian mainland. This is the Strait of Messina, a channel only 3 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. Despite its short distance, it represents a significant division, both geographically and culturally. Sicily, a large island with a population of nearly 5 million people, remains physically disconnected from the rest of the country. This separation forces an immense daily migration of people, cars, and commercial trucks onto a constant parade of ferries. Hundreds of times each day, these vessels shuttle back and forth, a slow and cumbersome process that highlights the island's isolation. The idea of a bridge, a permanent link, has been a national obsession for generations, a symbol of unity and modernity. The desire for the Messina Strait Bridge is rooted in more than just convenience. Supporters see it as a vital piece of infrastructure that could finally integrate Sicily fully into Italy and Europe. A bridge promises to slash travel times, boost the economy of the historically impoverished South, and create thousands of jobs during its construction. For many, it represents a grand statement of national ambition and engineering prowess. It would not just be a bridge, it would be a monument to Italian ingenuity, a definitive connection that would bind the nation together. This vision is powerful, promising to transform the region and rewrite the story of southern Italy's relationship with the rest of the country. However, this grand vision has remained just that, a vision. The story of the Messina Strait Bridge is a long and tangled tale of ambition repeatedly clashing with reality. The project has been proposed, designed, funded, and then cancelled more times than many can count. It has become a political symbol, championed by some governments as a priority, and dismissed by others as a wasteful fantasy. The dream of a physical connection is constantly debated, a recurring theme in Italian public life that seems to go nowhere. The gap between Sicily and the mainland is not just water. It is a chasm filled with political disputes, economic concerns, and profound natural obstacles that have so far proven insurmountable. Today, on October 29, 2025, the debate rages on. The bridge represents a fundamental question about Italy's future and its priorities. Is it a necessary investment to unlock the potential of the South, or is it a grandiose project that diverts billions of euros from more pressing needs like hospitals, schools, and existing infrastructure? The arguments for and against the bridge are as strong and turbulent as the waters it would need to cross. Understanding why this seemingly straightforward connection has not been made requires a deep dive into a complex mix of geology, history, politics, and crime. The strait itself presents some of the most difficult engineering challenges on the planet, a place where nature seems determined to resist being tamed. The primary reason this bridge remains unbuilt lies deep beneath the waves, in the very rock and soil of the region. Southern Italy sits on one of the most complex and active seismic fault lines in all of Europe. The area is a true geological war zone, marking the precise point where the massive African tectonic plate relentlessly pushes and dives beneath the Eurasian plate. The Strait of Messina is the fracture zone in this slow-motion continental collision, making it a place of immense geological stress and instability. This is not a calm or predictable environment. It is a region where the ground itself is constantly shifting, a reality that makes building any structure, let alone the world's longest suspension bridge, an enormous challenge for engineers. The terrifying power of this seismic activity is not theoretical. It is etched into the region's history with devastating clarity. On December 28, 1908, a massive earthquake with a magnitude of 7.1 struck the strait. The ground shook violently for more than 30 seconds, a terrifying eternity that was long enough to completely level the city of Messina in Sicily and Reggio Calabria on the mainland. The destruction was almost total. To compound the horror, the earthquake triggered a catastrophic tsunami, sending a 40-foot wall of water crashing into the ruined coastlines. The combined disaster claimed nearly 80,000 lives, marking it as one of the worst natural disasters in European history. Any bridge built here must be designed to withstand an earthquake of even greater magnitude than the one that occurred in 1908. This requires engineering solutions that are both groundbreaking and incredibly expensive, pushing the boundaries of what is currently possible. The bridge's towers would need to be anchored deep into the earth, and the structure itself would have to be flexible enough to absorb the violent shaking of a major seismic event without collapsing. Engineers have proposed designs that they claim can withstand a 7.5 magnitude earthquake, but the sheer unpredictability of the fault line leaves a lingering sense of uncertainty and risk that has made many officials hesitate. Adding another layer of difficulty is the seabed itself. The floor of the Strait of Messina is not solid, stable rock where foundations can be easily secured. Instead, it is a deep, unstable trench filled with hundreds of meters of soft sediment. This loose mixture of sand, silt, and clay provides a very poor foundation for the massive towers required to support a suspension bridge. Anchoring the structure would be like trying to build a skyscraper on quicksand. Engineers would have to find a way to drill incredibly deep through the soft material to reach bedrock, a process that would be extraordinarily complex, time-consuming, and an enormous financial undertaking, adding yet another major obstacle to the project. Beyond the trembling earth beneath, the waters of the Strait of Messina present their own legendary challenge. The strait serves as the meeting point for two major bodies of water, the Tyrrhenian Sea to the north and the Ionian Sea to the south. These two seas are distinct, with different temperatures, densities, and salinity levels. This fundamental difference is the engine for a powerful and chaotic hydraulic phenomenon. The tidal cycles of the two seas are almost perfectly out of sync, meaning that when it's high tide in one, it is nearly low tide in the other. This imbalance forces an immense volume of water to surge through the narrow channel twice every day. This daily surge creates some of the most powerful sea currents in the world, reaching speeds of up to 20 kilometers per hour. The sheer force of this rushing water can be a hazard for even modern ships, and it poses a significant threat to any construction activities that would need to take place in the strait. The turbulence is so intense that it generates massive, swirling whirlpools in the water. These natural phenomena are so dramatic and dangerous that they inspired the ancient Greek myths of Scylla and Charybdis, two sea monsters who guarded the strait and devoured sailors who dared to pass. The legend speaks to the very real and timeless dangers of these waters. For bridge engineers, these currents and whirlpools represent a nightmare scenario. Constructing the bridge's foundations and towers in such a volatile marine environment would be an unprecedented feat. Workers and equipment would be at the mercy of the powerful, ever-changing flow of water. The currents would exert immense pressure on any submerged structures during construction and would continue to scour the foundations for the entire life of the bridge. This constant hydrodynamic stress must be factored into the design, requiring even more robust and expensive materials and construction techniques to ensure the bridge's long-term stability against the relentless power of the sea. The fierce winds that funnel through the strait add yet another complication to the design. The bridge would need to be aerodynamically stable enough to withstand gusts that can be both strong and unpredictable. The combination of seismic risk from below, powerful currents in the water, and high winds from above creates a trifecta of natural forces that makes the Strait of Messina one of the most hostile environments imaginable for a megastructure. Overcoming these challenges requires more than just concrete and steel. It demands a level of engineering certainty and financial commitment that Italy has, for centuries, been unable or unwilling to provide. The monsters of myth may be gone, but the natural forces that inspired them remain as powerful as ever. The dream of bridging the Strait of Messina is not a modern one. It is an ambition that stretches back over 2,000 years into antiquity. The very first recorded attempt to create a crossing was documented in 251 BCE, during the First Punic War. After a victory in Sicily, the Roman consul Lucius Caecilius Metellus faced the logistical challenge of transporting 140 captured war elephants back to the Italian mainland. His solution was ingenious for its time. He ordered his men to lash together a massive number of barrels and timbers, creating a makeshift pontoon bridge. This temporary structure allowed the Romans to walk the elephants across the strait, a remarkable feat of ancient engineering born of military necessity. The idea resurfaced periodically over the centuries, but it gained serious momentum following the unification of Italy in the 19th century. For the newly formed nation, a bridge was seen as a powerful symbol. It would physically and spiritually connect the long-neglected South, particularly Sicily, with the rest of the country. It was envisioned as a project that would foster national unity and demonstrate the new kingdom's industrial and engineering capabilities. Numerous proposals were drawn up, each more ambitious than the last, but the immense technical challenges and lack of sufficient funds meant that none of these early plans ever moved beyond the drawing board, leaving the dream of connection unfulfilled. In the 20th century, the project was seized upon by the fascist regime of Benito Mussolini. For Mussolini, the bridge was a perfect propaganda opportunity, a way to showcase the supposed power and efficiency of his government. He championed the idea as a testament to fascist will and engineering might, a grand project that would stand as an eternal monument to his era. Detailed plans were once again developed, and the project was promoted as a cornerstone of his vision for a modernized Italy. However, the grand ambitions of the regime were ultimately derailed by the outbreak of World War II, which diverted all of the nation's resources and attention, once again shelving the bridge. After the war, during Italy's economic miracle of the 1950s and 60s, the bridge idea was resurrected yet again. This time, it was framed as a key to unlocking economic development for the impoverished South, known as the Mezzogiorno. Proponents argued that a bridge would stimulate trade, tourism, and investment, helping to close the vast economic gap between the industrial North and the agrarian South. The persistence of the idea through so many different eras, from Roman generals to modern politicians, shows just how deeply the desire for this connection is ingrained in the Italian psyche. Yet despite 2 millennia of dreaming, the Strait remains unbridged, a testament to the enduring difficulty of the task. In the decades following World War II, the Messina Strait Bridge evolved from a mere engineering proposal into a complex political and social issue. The project became a focal point for Italy's hopes of modernizing its southern regions. As the country rebuilt and developed, the bridge was presented as the ultimate symbol of progress, a forward-looking investment that would finally bring the South into the modern European economy. The vision was compelling, a sleek modern bridge that would carry cars and high-speed trains, replacing the slow and outdated ferry system and signaling a new era of prosperity and integration for Sicily and Calabria. To turn this vision into a reality, the Italian government took a significant step in 1981. It established a dedicated state-owned company called Stretto di Messina S.p.A. The sole purpose of this entity was to oversee the planning, design, and eventual construction of the bridge. For years, this company consumed hundreds of millions of public funds. It commissioned extensive geological surveys to map the treacherous seabed and seismic fault lines. It held international design competitions, leading to an ambitious plan for what would be the longest single-span suspension bridge in the world. For a time, it seemed as though the project was finally moving forward with serious intent. However, the creation of a dedicated company did not solve the project's fundamental problems. Instead, the bridge became a political football, tossed back and forth between successive Italian governments. The country's notoriously unstable political system, which has produced nearly 70 different governments since the end of World War II, has made long-term commitment to any major project nearly impossible. Typically, center-right governments, like those led by Silvio Berlusconi, have championed the bridge, promoting it as a source of national pride and economic growth. They have pushed the project forward, allocating funds and setting timelines for construction. In contrast, center-left governments have often viewed the bridge with deep skepticism. They have tended to argue that the project is a colossal waste of public money, a vanity project that Italy simply cannot afford. When they came to power, they would often halt progress, cancel funding, and put the entire plan on hold. This cycle of starting and stopping has defined the bridge's modern history. Each change in government brought a change in policy, leaving the Stretto di Messina company in a state of perpetual limbo and ensuring that construction never actually began. The bridge became less of a construction project and more of a symbol of Italy's political divisions. In the 21st century, the debate over the Messina Strait Bridge has become even more polarized, centering on fundamental questions of cost and national priorities. One of the most powerful arguments against the project is its enormous price tag. Critics, including many politicians, economists, and ordinary citizens, contend that the billions of euros earmarked for the bridge could be far better spent elsewhere. They point to the dire state of existing infrastructure in both Sicily and Calabria. These regions suffer from dilapidated roads, crumbling railway lines that are among the slowest in Europe, and underfunded hospitals and schools. For many, building a futuristic bridge while basic services decay just seems, well, absurd. The argument is that the government should focus on modernizing the infrastructure that people use every day before embarking on such a monumental and expensive undertaking. Improving the internal road and rail networks within Sicily, for example, would have a more immediate and widespread impact on the local economy and the quality of life for its residents. Opponents of the bridge argue that a high-speed train connection to the mainland is of little use if the tracks on the island itself are ancient and inefficient. This first-things-first approach resonates strongly with many Italians who feel that the government's priorities are misplaced, favoring a single showpiece project over essential public services. This debate reflects a deeper political and cultural divide in Italy. The bridge has become a litmus test for one's political vision for the country. For its supporters, it represents ambition, growth, and a belief in Italy's ability to achieve great things. They argue that major infrastructure projects are essential for long-term economic stimulus, and that the bridge would pay for itself over time through increased trade and tourism. It's seen as a strategic investment that would finally connect a region of 5 million people to the high-speed transport networks of mainland Europe, creating opportunities that would otherwise be impossible. On the other hand, for its detractors, the bridge symbolizes government waste, misplaced grandeur, and a disconnect from the real needs of the people. They see it as a cathedral in the desert, a magnificent structure leading to regions that lack the basic infrastructure to support it. This ongoing political battle ensures that the project remains in a state of constant uncertainty. The lack of a stable, long-term political consensus has been one of the most effective barriers to its construction, perhaps even more so than the seismic fault lines or the powerful currents of the Strait itself. The bridge cannot be built without political will, and that has been in short supply. The most concrete obstacle to the Messina Strait Bridge in recent decades has been its astronomical and ever-increasing cost. What began as an expensive project has ballooned into a financial behemoth. The latest official estimates place the total cost at around 13.5 billion euros. This figure is so large that it's honestly difficult to comprehend, representing a significant portion of Italy's national infrastructure budget. The sheer scale of this investment forces a difficult conversation about value and opportunity cost. For the price of this one bridge, Italy could undertake a massive overhaul of public services across the entire southern part of the country, a choice that many feel would be a lot more prudent. This huge sum covers every aspect of the monumental undertaking. It includes the final design work, the extensive site preparation on both the Sicilian and Calabrian coasts, and the procurement of immense quantities of specialized steel and concrete. It also accounts for the complex logistics of construction in such a challenging environment, including the use of advanced techniques to anchor the foundations deep into the unstable seabed and to erect the towers amidst powerful winds and currents. A significant portion of the budget is also allocated to risk mitigation, particularly the high-tech engineering required to make the structure resistant to a major earthquake, adding a substantial premium to the overall price. Critics of the project are quick to point out that large-scale public works projects in Italy have a notorious history of running over budget and behind schedule. They fear that the 13.5 billion euro figure is merely a starting point and that the final cost could be significantly higher. The history of the Stretto di Messina SPA, which spent hundreds of millions of euros over several decades without ever breaking ground, serves as a cautionary tale. This history feeds a deep public skepticism about the government's ability to manage such a mega-project efficiently and transparently. Many Italians worry that the bridge will become a bottomless pit for public money. The financial risk is a heavy burden for a country that already has one of the highest levels of public debt in Europe. Committing such a vast sum to a single project with uncertain economic returns is a gamble that many successive governments have been unwilling to take. While proponents promise long-term economic benefits, the immediate financial outlay is daunting. The immense cost remains the single biggest talking point for opponents and the biggest hurdle for supporters to overcome. Until a government can convincingly argue that the benefits justify the multi-billion euro price tag, the bridge is likely to remain stalled by its own staggering expense. Beyond the natural and financial challenges, there is a darker, more insidious force that has long plagued the Messina Strait Bridge project: organized crime. Massive public works projects in Italy are prime targets for infiltration by mafia organizations, which see them as a golden opportunity to siphon off vast sums of public money. The bridge project, given its unprecedented scale and cost, is seen as the ultimate prize. It has been dubbed the Appalto del Secolo, or the contract of the century, by those who follow the activities of Italy's criminal syndicates. The prospect of billions of euros flowing into the region has attracted the keen interest of these powerful groups. The two main organizations, poised to profit, are Sicily's Cosa Nostra, and more significantly, Calabria's 'Ndrangheta. The 'Ndrangheta, based on the mainland side of the strait, has grown to become one of the wealthiest and most powerful criminal organizations in the world. It has achieved near absolute control over key sectors of the Calabrian economy, particularly the construction industry. From the supply of raw materials like sand and concrete to transport and subcontracting, the 'Ndrangheta's influence is pervasive. Anti-mafia investigators have long warned that it would be virtually impossible to build the bridge without a significant portion of the funds being diverted into the hands of organized crime through extortion, bid rigging, and control of the supply chain. The threat of mafia infiltration adds a chilling dimension to the project's risks. It's not just about financial loss, it's about public funds directly enriching violent criminal enterprises. This reality has given many politicians pause, as moving forward with the project could be seen as knowingly feeding a criminal ecosystem. The challenge for the state would be to create a completely transparent and secure system for awarding contracts and overseeing construction, a task that has proven incredibly difficult in a region where the mafia's tentacles run deep into the local economy and even into politics. The fear of empowering these criminal groups has been a powerful argument for scrapping the project altogether. Perhaps the most cynical and troubling aspect of the mafia's involvement is the potential for them to profit more from delays than from completion. Anti-mafia prosecutors have suggested that the greatest financial opportunity for organized crime may lie not in a finished bridge, but in a perpetually unfinished one. An endlessly delayed project, with its constant need for new studies, revised plans, and preliminary site work, creates a continuous stream of smaller contracts and opportunities to build the state. This allows for a steady siphoning of public money over many years, without ever having to deliver a final product. This perverse incentive may help explain why the project has been stuck in a state of permanent preparation for so long. Despite the immense obstacles and the long history of failure, the dream of the Messina Strait Bridge has once again been brought back to life. In 2023, the new Italian government, led by a coalition that has long supported the project, officially revived the plan. This was not just a political statement, it was backed by concrete action. The government reappointed a board to the long-dormant Stretto di Messina company, and allocated new funds to update the engineering designs, which were by then decades old. After years of being on hold, the project was suddenly back on the national agenda, with renewed political backing and a sense of urgency. The government has laid out an ambitious timeline, signaling its serious intent to finally see the project through. The stated goal is to have the updated plans finalized and approved quickly, with the aim of beginning the first construction work in mid-2026. According to this optimistic schedule, the bridge would be completed and open to traffic by 2032. This timeline has been met with a mix of excitement from supporters and deep skepticism from opponents, who have seen similar deadlines come and go in the past. Nevertheless, the current political momentum is stronger than it has been in over a decade. However, all the old challenges remain firmly in place. The ground beneath the strait is still a seismic tinderbox, and the currents are just as powerful as they were in the time of Odysseus. The estimated cost of 13.5 billion euros is still a staggering sum that critics argue could be better used to fix crumbling roads and railways. The shadow of the 'Ndrangheta and the Cosa Nostra still looms large over any major construction in the south, posing a severe risk of corruption and infiltration. The political landscape in Italy also remains famously volatile, and a future change in government could easily halt the project once again, just as it has so many times before. Ultimately, the future of the Messina Strait Bridge is as uncertain today, on October 29, 2025, as it has ever been. Its fate depends on whether the current political will can overcome the combined weight of geological, financial, and criminal obstacles that have thwarted it for generations. Will this latest revival be the one that finally succeeds, or will it become just another chapter in the long saga of a dream deferred? The answer will determine whether Sicily remains separated by a few kilometers of water or is finally, physically, bound to the rest of Italy. For now, the bridge remains a grand idea suspended between ambition and the harsh realities of its world.